All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're breaking down Article 8 from the 99% Perspective series. Today, we are looking at a massive shift, how artificial intelligence is actively reshaping jobs. But we aren't just going to look at the shiny new tech. We're diving into the raw economics behind it to figure out who is actually capturing the wealth from this transition. It's a topic that affects literally all of us, so let's get straight to the data.
We really don't need a crystal ball to see what's happening. Just look at this number. According to the Challenger, Gray, and Christmas report we're looking at today, back in March 2026, U.S. employers announced an absolutely staggering 60,620 job cuts. That's a huge 25% spike from just the previous month. It paints a pretty clear picture of the intense, ongoing corporate restructuring happening right in our own backyards.
But here is the kicker. Out of all those thousands of layoffs, a full 25%, that's over 15,000 jobs, were directly attributed to artificial intelligence replacing human labor. You know, for years we've been talking about AI like it's this distant sci-fi problem for the next generation. Well, this data absolutely confirms the disruption has arrived and it's hitting paychecks right now.
Today, we're going to trace this paradigm shift through 6 critical areas: AI and the job market, losing the career ladder, who actually gets rich, deepening the inequality divide, creating a fair transition, and finally, the 99% perspective.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, AI and the job market.
As our source material emphatically points out, AI is no longer just a cool concept waiting around the corner. It's right now the leading reason companies are actively shrinking their workforces. And this isn't just tech bros losing out. The report highlights how automation is completely upending workflows across professional offices, the service sector, and even warehouse floors. The workplace is fundamentally transforming under our feet.
Which brings us to Section 2, losing the career ladder.
Now, the real hidden danger here isn't necessarily those massive headline-grabbing layoffs. It's what the research calls task automation. See, there's this huge myth that an AI swoops in and steals your entire job title overnight. In reality, it's way more subtle. It chips away at your daily tasks. If an algorithm can suddenly handle half of your admin work, your company doesn't need to hire the next 2 people. And sure, some argue AI will create new roles. But the source raises a crucial question. Are there going to be enough new jobs to replace the ones being quietly erased?
Think about what's actually being automated. Scheduling, data entry, basic customer service. The source emphasizes that these aren't just quote-unquote low-level gigs. These are the vital entry-level doorways that women, Black workers, and first-generation professionals have historically relied on to build stable corporate careers. If those bottom rungs of the ladder vanish, the entire bridge to upward mobility disappears with it.
And the scale of this transformation is just massive. With McKinsey projecting that nearly a third of all current work hours across the U.S. economy could be automated by 2030, we are looking at an unprecedented leap in corporate efficiency, which means we have to take a really hard look at where the financial savings from all that efficiency are actually going.
Let's look at Section 3, who actually gets rich. This is the core economic issue of our whole explainer. When tech creates these massive productivity booms, the money doesn't just magically trickle down. As this breakdown clearly shows, when fewer labor hours are needed, employers win. When payroll drops, corporations just keep the difference. Unless wages rise right alongside these new tools, AI basically acts as a giant wealth transfer machine, funneling the value of your hard work straight up to the executives and investors who own the tech.
Moving on to Section 4, deepening the inequality divide.
For vulnerable groups, especially Black workers and low-wealth communities already fighting economic exclusion, AI acts as a severe inequality multiplier. The text points out some very real risks here: automated resume screeners filtering out perfectly qualified candidates, hyper-stressful productivity surveillance tracking every single keystroke, and algorithms trained on unequal historical data that just repeat past biases. Basically, unequal systems are automating their inequality way faster than people can challenge them.
And it's not just individual workers feeling the squeeze either. Small businesses are getting hammered too. Massive corporations have the deep pockets to buy custom AI tools and hire dedicated data teams, drastically lowering their overhead. Meanwhile, your local mom-and-pop shops just don't have the budget or technical expertise to keep up. The source notes that AI is poised to massively strengthen corporate giants while leaving small businesses struggling to compete. Now, you always hear politicians and CEOs say displaced workers should just reskill, right? Well, as our source rightly points out, reskilling requires time. It takes money, childcare, reliable internet access, and stable housing. Just telling someone to learn to code is essentially meaningless if the economy and the government doesn't provide a real systemic safety net so families can actually survive while learning those new skills.
So how do we actually fix this? Section 5, creating a fair transition.
We have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Should AI be a weapon used strictly to replace workers and slash costs, or should it be a tool that actually empowers employees to work better and earn more? Because the technology itself is completely neutral. It's the corporate strategies and public policies built around it that will decide our fate.
A fair transition doesn't just happen on its own. It requires intentional, concrete protections. The source advocates for some very specific steps. Implementing paid retraining programs so folks don't face financial ruin upgrading their skills. Enforcing strict notice requirements before any automation-related layoffs happen. Mandating AI bias audits to stop discrimination in its tracks. And crucially, distributing wage-sharing bonuses. Because if AI is boosting a company's bottom line, the workers doing the actual job need to see that reflected in their paychecks. Which brings us to our final section, the 99% perspective.
Here's the bottom line. AI is absolutely not the enemy. It is a remarkably powerful tool. The real issue, as laid out in the text, is whether we structure our economy so this tech actually improves our quality of life, or if we just let it be used to hoard wealth and concentrate power at the very top. At the end of the day, it is entirely a question of ownership.
As we navigate this massive economic shift, we really have to look beyond just the shiny new tech and focus on economic justice. We have to demand an answer to this. Will AI create shared prosperity and better work? Or will corporations keep the gains while working families carry the losses?
That is the question we all need to be asking. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. The 99% perspective. Real talk, real strategy from the 99%.